afternoon, everyone, or good evening to you all. I hope you are very well. My name is Daniel Baxter, and I'm the Assistant Head of International at Glasgow Caledonian University. And we're really, really lucky to be speaking to you all today about the opportunities that you have through upGrad and to join us here at Glasgow Caledonian University to further your studies at master's level. So, what I'd like to do with you today is to give you a short presentation on who we are as a university, a bit about Glasgow, because it's important that you understand the city that you could be possibly finishing your master's degree in and working while you're doing that and beyond. So, we are Glasgow Caledonian University, and we are situated in Scotland and in Scotland's biggest city, Glasgow. Now, Glasgow is a very vibrant and exciting city with lots of great infrastructure, great investment opportunities with organisations and businesses, and it's a great place to study and live. So, at Glasgow Caledonian University, it's important to note that we are a global institution. We are a global university. We are one of the top ranked universities in the world for our impact research, ranked in the top 50 universities in the world for our research which has impact. But we do have three campuses globally. We have our biggest campus with almost 18,000 students in Glasgow, in the heart of the city. We also have a smaller campus in Glasgow, so in London, in London in the United Kingdom. And finally, we have a campus in New York. And the reason I want to tell you that is because we are a global institution and we have global networks and opportunities which allow us to develop degrees which create opportunities for you both while you're studying and beyond, because that's the most important thing, is ensuring that you pick the right degree, the right masters that's going to give you the opportunities in the future. Now, we are one of Europe's most vibrant and diverse destinations, and that's really important because we have a diverse population, meaning that we've got students, international students from all over the world, which come to study and live in Glasgow. And we have a fantastic and huge Indian population as well. We are a unique city with a lot of personality, and that's really important because we're a safe city. And for you choosing to come and study and live here, that's important because you want to make sure that there's opportunities for you to have a social side as well as your studies. And because we are a world class city for culture, heritage, music, sport, tourism, finance, investment, and business, what we are seeing is more businesses choosing to invest their operations in Glasgow, which is creating unique opportunities for you as future students, showcasing that there's job opportunities, which is one of the most important things that you will want on completion of your degree. So we are a competitive hub for global business. So not only do we have local UK and Scottish businesses, but we have some of the biggest internationally renowned businesses in the world, like Morgan Stanley, Barclays, KPMG, Deloitte. So these are all organizations which have head offices or large offices in Glasgow that we work with within the university. So you get the opportunity to meet and create networks with these organizations during your time of study. We are a quality dining and shopping destination, meaning that it's a vibrant city to live in. And we're steeped in culture. So while you're here studying, you get to feel safe and valued in a city where there's opportunities for growth. So, what opportunities do you have when you visit Glasgow? Well, at Glasgow Caledonian University, we're in the heart of the city centre, meaning that we're a self sufficient campus, that all of the campus operations are in one place, meaning you don't need to go across the city to get to different classes, you're all in the one area. We have a great student centred approach to what we do. And the good thing is, You're close to all the major train stations and bus stations and only 15 minutes drive from the airport. And these are important questions that a lot of our students will ask before they come and study with us. This is our campus in the heart of Glasgow. And this is the business school, the Annie Lennox Business School. And this is the school that you would be studying in and have most of your classes and meet and work with other like-minded individuals studying for their masters. On our Glasgow campus, we do have three schools. We have our Glasgow School for Business and Society, which is where our International Business Management Masters, our Marketing Masters, and our Global MBA sit. We have our School of Computing and Engineering and Built Environment, and our School of Health and Life Sciences. And what this means is that there's a great student body population of international students. And at postgraduate level, which you would be coming to, we have a vibrant, almost 50 to 60% of our students are international. And you get to meet students studying in areas that are not just on your programme. So within the Glasgow School of Business and Society, we have certain departments. And why this is important to you, as the programs that you choose to study, they also take modules from across different departments to ensure that you have the best setup for your future career. And the best thing about our degrees is they are built both with the academic theory, but also with our industry leaders in mind. So we work with our industry partners to better understand what skills do graduates need to be successful managers and get jobs. We have some programs in our university which are top ranked globally, which is important because we want businesses to recognize the value of our learning and teaching and the value that our students like you could be when you join us. We have research centres which underpin a lot of our learning, which we then have some students go on to be part of. We have really strong industry links. So with some of the partners that I've even spoken to you about already, but we also work with key partners like Hilton Group, Glasgow Airport, and more in which I'll show you as we go through the presentation. We have world-class facilities, meaning that your learning experience is enhanced by the facilities that we have, our classrooms, our breakout spaces for students to work together, our areas for learning and teaching support. We have dedicated staff that will help you better understand your critical thinking, how to write essays. So there's support for you throughout the time as you study with us and beyond. Our business school and some of our programs all have accreditation from the Chartered Management Institute, from the Chartered Institute of Marketing, and our masters are 2 years. So you'll do a 9 month accelerated top component and then a 6 month industry placement afterwards, meaning that you would have a master's with professional practice, showcasing that you've been able to put the skills that you've learned into practice once you've completed. So why would you want to study with us? Well, apart from being in a great city with opportunity, our programs are career focused. And what this means is they're built in mind with the fact that we want our students to go into successful and impactful jobs at the end. And the only way we can do that is through our industry panels that support the development of our programs. We have innovative teaching. So not only do we give you masterclasses where we invite our industry partners and successful alumni in, some of those who work for Nike, who have gone on to work for KPMG, who have gone on to open their own businesses, who are directors in Barclays, they will come in and speak to you and give you tips that will help you through your graduate process. But we also work with organisations in our modules. So as part of your assessment, you'll deliver projects for internationally renowned partners like Virgin Atlantic, and Virgin Hotel Group. So
If I may
what?
interrupt for a second, I'm so sorry. I just got so invested in the beautiful story that you just shared with us, and that made me realize I'm not sure if you're sharing a presentation right now, but
Oh, am I not? Is it not showing?
then
Oh,
we cannot see it.
oh, I do apologise. Let me go on and share it. So
No problem. Thank you.
I do apologise. I can share this with the team at upGrad so you can send it to students that are interested. So I do
Thank you so
apologise.
much.
That's my fault. So
No
here are
problem
some
at
of
all.
the pictures of the city where you could come to study. So it gives you an idea of the opportunities of where you would be studying. And this, as I said, is the business school where you would be part of the community and complete your studies. So, why study? Innovative teaching, working with businesses within modules. And what that does for you is it creates a network of opportunity for you to interact with future employers. Get tips. We have employers from Hilton that help us, that work with us on our modules and actively teach on them. So you're getting insight from industry partners. And those are the people that are going to offer you the jobs and the employment opportunities once leaving university. We have award winning student support. We understand there's a lot of investment in choosing to study a master's abroad. And we want to make sure that our students are supported, that they have the academic support, but also the other support in careers, in visa, in studentships. So we have a dedicated team where you can access them and they will guide you. We're recognised for our research. A lot of our research informs our teaching. We all research as academics. I still myself, I'm a lecturer in tourism and event management and have taught elements across the school. Our programs are designed for you, with the student at the heart of what we do, ensuring that they understand what they're learning and how it works for their future, how they will apply it in the workplace, how it will support their own development. And we do have opportunities of placements and international learning journeys where students get to experience teaching and learning from other perspectives, which is really important. But something that is more important is your own experience. Many of you are coming from working backgrounds, have worked in many different businesses. So you have a story to share. And in the classroom, we want to know how your own experience has helped you and informs the teaching. So we encourage peer to peer learning. As I said, we have many accredited professional accreditations, which our industry partners want to see. We work very closely with the Chartered Management Institute, and our students in our marketing program can opt in to becoming part of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So, what are the programs that you can study on completion of your IMT program with upGrad? Well, you can join us on our International Business Management Masters, where you would join us in our second semester and you would complete modules such as international approaches to managing people. So, part of what you'll want to do and you'll aspire to be is to be great leaders within industry. And part of that is understanding how to actively manage people, but in different areas of the business, but also globally. Because you're coming over to be part of an international degree. And we want to make sure that you have the skills in managing different areas of a business with an international setting. We then go on to give you a knowledge around international marketing management. So, what are the strategies for marketing? How do businesses take their organizations global or continue to grow locally? And we consider that from a consumer perspective. And then you'll explore the concepts of international operations management. So, how do businesses actually do what they do? What are the operating and supply chain opportunities within the business to ensure that they're successful? And then you'll go on to do your postgraduate research methods, which is one of the most exciting modules because it allows you to start to think about what is an area I'm really interested on and what is my research project that I want to do. Because once you successfully complete that semester, you'll move on to your next semester and semester C, where you'll do your master's research project. And that's your project. And it's an innovative project because we encourage you to do consultancy projects where you can go out and solve a problem for a business and write up the research on that. Or you can do a traditional dissertation where you'll collect primary data about an interesting area of a business that inspires you. And then you'll do your developing leadership for the common good, because many of you will be opting to go on to the professional practice year. And that's ensuring that we give you the skills and support in finding these opportunities and finding placement opportunities. Once you complete these first 2 semesters, the expectation is that you will have a minimum of 60% across your program, to which then you'll be entered into your professional practice place, which is 60 credits or 600 hours working within a business. And that can be within Glasgow, within Edinburgh, across Scotland, anywhere in the UK, but you're still part of GCU. And the best thing about this is we will help you to find these opportunities. We will give you masterclasses on tailoring your CV, where to search for these jobs, what opportunities are being dedicated to GCU students. And you'll work with academic tutors, lecturers, and the career service to identify these opportunities. For those of you interested in a more specific program, we have the MSc in Marketing, where again you would join in January 2024, and you'd be able to study concepts like integrated digital marketing communications. So, what are the digital strategies businesses are using to reach their customers, to reach the right customers? And you'll do a project around that with organizations to help them enhance their digital communication, which is great because you can put that on your CV. So, what we are doing throughout your studies is building your brand, making you more employable to go for the jobs that you want. You'll then go on to do international marketing and planning strategy, which is one of our innovative teaching approaches, where we use a simulation, where you'll simulate how a business can enter into new business markets and how they would spend their money to market different products within their organization. And then we have the creative subjects around creative brand management. And again, it would follow like the other program of business management, where you would do your research project and the leadership module, 60% overall before you'd move on to the professional practice. So, the other option for those of you that are interested in obtaining an MBA is to do our global MBA, where you would come into semester A in September or January. So, you would start in September and do concepts like responsible leadership, social responsibility, because as we know, businesses are driving that social construct of sustainability approaches to sustainable management. And we want to ensure that you, as future leaders of tomorrow, understand these approaches. And then you can choose an elective before continuing on to your MBA project. Now, the global MBA is only a 9-month program, and then you have the opportunity to apply for post study work visa. And that goes for the other 2 programs as well. On completion, you'd have the opportunity as students who have completed their degree to apply for the post study work visa in the UK. So, what do we then ask for from you? What do you need in order to apply to these programs? Well, first of all, it's successfully completing your advanced general management program from IMT Gazabad with upGrad. Once you do that, you have the eligible qualifications and mapping to come on to our program in international business management with professional practice, MSc marketing professional practice, or the global MBA. What we also ask is that you have English proficiency requirements as standard by Glasgow Caledonian University. So we do look for an IELTS of 6.0 with no element below 5.5, or Duolingo, or any of the various ones that you see here. So we do ask for an English language proficiency. If there are any other English language qualifications that you do have, you can speak to our admissions team through upGrad and we can support that question. So what we do say is, if you have questions, ask them and we'll be able to answer them for you. These are important. So if you are an international student coming directly to us, you can see the fee structure here, a total of £24,000 to do the 2-year programme. However, with your advanced entry into the programme, you'll be looking at around about £18,000. But we do have a scholarship set where you would have another £2,350 off that, and it would be a total of just over £15,000 to do this degree. So there are opportunities there, and the fee structures can be found with upGrad for more discussion on that. But one of the biggest questions is, what are my employability opportunities? Is there employability opportunities? Because if you're studying a master's, that's what's important. So We are the top Scottish university, joint top Scottish university for graduates who are in work and further study after 15 months of completing their studies. And that's really important for you because you want to make sure that there are job progression routes, that there's job opportunities, or even for some of you, you might be interested in further study like a PhD or a Doctorate of Business Administration. So there are those opportunities. What we also know is that 93% of our graduates are in employment, whether that's full time or part time, which is above the Scottish rate, the standard Scottish. But what the most important thing is almost 80% of our graduates are in highly skilled occupations. And that's what you want. You want to make sure that your degree sets you up for those highly skilled master's graduate roles that you would expect with some organisations locally or in the UK. Now, the reason we have that such success in that is because as lecturers, as academics, as a university, we get to know our students. We want to make sure you know the opportunities that are out there. We bring in guest speakers. We create industry site visits. We bring industry into the classroom to help you develop your networks. We have internship opportunities throughout the programme. We have light touch work experience opportunities through the program. So these are all opportunities for you, but you need to want them and need to want to take them. And if you want to do that, we will help you. We work with companies such as Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, GlaxoSmithKline, Marsh Aon, Scottish Power, Ernst and Young, BMW, Marriott, Hilton, Disney, Nike, such large organizations, but we also work with the government and policy organizations, as well as the third sector, which are the charities. So there's a great wealth of opportunity for you choosing to come and study at GCU. Now, one of the other questions that we have had from students, I'm just going to change my screen just now, so bear with me a moment, is the students are asking, well, what does it cost to live in Glasgow? What would I spend to live in Glasgow while I'm there? So living on Glasgow, it can be done in a manner which is comfortable. We are the second most affordable city. So it's a great place to study and an affordable place to live. And it's an exciting time as our population of students, international students, is almost around 80,000. So there's a lot to offer you while you're studying here. But it's important that you budget. You consider, want to know how much does it cost? How much would I expect to live here for a year? And for around about a year to 16 months, which would be your degree, you'd be looking around between 12,000 to 16,000 pounds, depending on your own lifestyle factors. Now, a great thing about our university is we can help you source and see where opportunities for accommodation are. We have the career service, which can help you get a job. Because again, another question we have is, can I work while I'm studying? Well, you need to ensure that you, once your visa is in place, that you can work up to 20 hours. So those opportunities are there for you to bring in additional income and work with some businesses that you might want to work with once you complete your degree. So think about what it would look to cost. GCU can provide a lot of information and support if you're struggling with the rising cost of living. And what we've done is we've created a budget calculator of what your average monthly total would look like from prices of accommodation. So you're between around 300 to 600 pounds for accommodation. Again, depending on where you want to live, what type of accommodation you like. You can see what you would be roughly for your phone, your transport. But if you live in the city, you might not need to spend anything. Your food shopping, going out. So these are what we would say is about your monthly average between 800 to £1,000. Rent does seem to be the biggest cost of living, as we would know. But there are other areas to save money. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that Glasgow is an affordable place to live. There are opportunities of where you can find where to live. Some of you might decide to stay in student accommodation, but some of you might decide that you want to stay in your own accommodation or share a room on companies like Spare Room, which can split the cost of bills. Transportation, you get student rail cards for £30. Most operated bus services are again 4-week passes are £50. So it's that affordable, but many places are within walking. If you stay in the West End, if you stay in the South Side, which is close to the university, you're around about a 20 to 40-minute walk. Cycling, many of our students cycle, and GCU students are eligible for a £50 discount on the annual subscription for the next bikes within Glasgow. So you can cycle everywhere. Food shopping, we have lots of different areas where you can shop. 10% off in some of these places. So Glasgow is a student-focused city, and students feel safe and they know it's an affordable place to live. Lots of places to do your home shopping, but the best thing is lots of student discounts and many of the shops, accommodations, and phone bills, students will have access to discounts. We also offer a fee payment plan. So the payment plans are easily available to help spread the cost of tuition. Before students register, you must have paid your deposit of £4,000. And then if you start in September or January, there are 8 monthly installments, meaning that you can spread it out. If you do pay your full fee up front, there is a further 5% payment, if 5% scholarship if you pay your fees all in full before you start. There's part-time work, student jobs, career hubs, the university. We have full careers fairs to showcase where the opportunities for work are. So I hope that gives you an overview of the opportunities at Glasgow Caledonian University. We'd love to welcome you here once you complete your studies. And the team at upGrad are there to help you, and so are we. So thank you very much for your time today.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniel. This was a great introduction to the university, to the programs, and much more. And lovely to see the pictures too. Beautiful campus. Now, could you maybe tell us a bit more about study in Scotland as maybe opposed to other parts of the UK?
Yeah, so studying in Scotland, it's a great opportunity because, as I said, we have such a massive population of international students. So there's a real focus on ensuring that students are safe, they're valued. But part of the integration and some of the challenges that the students have initially is the different learning style, because you're coming to do your masters and there's an emphasis on independent learning. But the great thing is, because you're doing an online start of this, you're already understanding that approach of, I need to study, I have to manage my work and my time.
Mhm.
And you're already then at an advantage, because that's sometimes an area students don't realize is independent study is so important, because we'll guide you, we'll give you readings, we'll give you websites, we'll give you support, but you need to be taking that time outside of class to do the work. Now, traditionally, we teach in the manner where you'll do lectures, which will tend to be 1 or 2 hours with the lecturer, and then you'll have seminar classes, which allow you to contextualize and discuss. Now, one of the best things we've seen over the past few years here at Glasgow Caledonian is students interacting in the classroom. Now, sometimes when you come over to study in Scotland, that's a bit daunting, because you're like, when do I give my opinion? Should I give you my opinion? But we always want your opinion in the classroom. Your opinion matters because you have lots of experience, and there's students in that classroom that maybe have never visited where you're from or understand
Exactly.
what it's like in those cultures. So share that with us. And I always say to my students as well, you teach me a lot. I get to learn about where you're from. And for me, I teach tourism. So I get to learn about how tourism works in your countries, and it's really inspiring. So that's what lecturers want and other students want. So don't be afraid to ask questions or speak out. We encourage that so much, because peer-to-peer learning inspires new knowledge. So we'll
100%.
guide you in discussions.
It's
So
such a
we want
huge
that.
benefit. I believe it's such a huge benefit for students to be in a classroom with a mix of international students, and indeed what you just mentioned, you get to know about people's backgrounds and their perspective on case studies, on the subject of study. And that's something that you will get only when you're in an international classroom. Without even visiting some places geographically, physically, you already get a lot of understanding. You develop a very holistic view on the topic. So you graduate with more than the degree. You get a lot of exposure to the world by just being in an international classroom.
Totally agree. And that's something that's really important in what we do is we bring industry into the classroom. But you need to take advantage of that because we're bringing employers in. These could be your future employers. And in my module this year, I'm working with the Hilton, and we've already had 4 students employed on part-time work with them because they've been talking to the operations manager who's in the classroom. They're
Yeah,
asking them about work. So take that opportunity, speak to the employers we bring in, ask them the questions. Because one thing I will tell you about studying in Scotland at Glasgow Caledonian, the classroom is a safe environment. It's the place to make mistakes and ask the wrong questions, because then we can talk about how to transition away from that.
that's how you
That's all
learn.
right. It's better to do it in the classroom than to do it in industry. And it's okay to ask those sometimes challenging questions. And I think that's what we want to create. Now, the learning is different because we don't do regular exam-based learning. While some of our modules will have exams, we move to essay writing, we move to report writing, we move to group work. And group work can be daunting because no matter what industry you work in, you'll be working in multinational teams, you'll be working in cross-sectoral teams. But my advice is go for it. Share your ideas. Don't be afraid. We're in the room to facilitate and support that. So you will do group work, you'll do report writing. And I always say, how can you ask somebody to do something if you don't help them understand how to do it? And that's where we will do sessions when you join an induction on things like critical writing. Well, what is critical writing? How do you move away from writing your opinion to writing about the knowledge that's already out there to help guide your opinion? So we help you through all that. We discuss things like how to avoid plagiarism. We help you we put constructs in place that support your demonstration of what's the difference between a report and what's the difference between a case study. So we will support you and guide you through that. As lecturers, we want students to know that we are there to assist them. We want to support you to do the best that you can do. But what we always say is you need to do the reading, you need to do the background. And once
Yes.
you do that, the world is your oyster. You will fly in a classroom as long as you're committed to doing the work as well, because you're investing in yourself in a master's. So make sure you invest in the knowledge in the classroom and enhance that. And we'll help guide you through that. All your lecturers, the good thing is as well, we have open hours where we have 3 hours a week where you're able to drop in and ask us questions. And that's really important because we want to be ensure that students know that we are there to support them.
Now,
So
speaking of these teaching
yeah,
methods, we can definitely say that the style of teaching is very innovative. Now, going towards the research side of your teaching, a lot of students do often have queries that include what is the actual benefit of the research components as part of my study, and how does this translate to me as a student being ready for the industry after graduation? What would you reply to students who have similar questions?
so that's a really great question. And I think that's one that all students can sometimes face. And it's that complexity of even why do I need to know this? And that's what we do is putting that theory into practice. So when we're teaching maybe concepts like experience management, which is about how to ensure that consumers have the correct experience so that they become loyal to an organization. We teach the theoretical construct of symbolic interactionism. And when you put that in front of a student, they go, what is that? But it's all about how the symbols that we buy say something about who we are as people, which then businesses can then tailor what they deliver to the consumer. And that's what it is. It's about breaking down that theoretical construct and saying, here how it's actively used in industry. Here's how you might take the 4 P's of marketing and use it as an example. Here's how you may, so example, applied research. We do a lot of applied research at the university. So an area we are looking at is how to tangibilize intangible experiences at events. So we then show the students how we've come up with the maybe theoretical framework, and then we show them how it's actually worked with the research we've done and where it applies. So it's about breaking it all down and saying, here's the theory, here's the framework, here's how it's used generally, but here's an example of how it's used in your sector to date. So it's that journey for them to then say, right, I know that. I can get that. I can see where that will make value for me.
Mhm.
And that's what we want students to know, is that the theory underpins a lot of what we do. It helps us to understand how organizations work, how they operate, how they deliver, but it's then taking it that step further to say, here's how it actually is used. And then what happens is students will then share with us how they've experienced that in their own day-to-day life.
Yes, thank you so much. That's really helpful. It's a question that comes up quite often. But speaking of life after graduation, we have a question from a learner. And the question is, what are the average packages after completing the course? Now, of course, we just mentioned the different courses that we have from the global MBA, marketing, international business management. Would you be able to guide this question, please?
So is it by packages? Is that working with organizations afterwards, or?
I think he or she is probably referring to the type of salaries that students can expect,
Okay.
which is, of course, it can range from anything to anything.
It depends on the organization, the business, where you want to go, because some students will want to go and work for private, large, multinational organizations. Some students will choose to go and work in government. Some students will choose to go and work in what we call the third sector. So your salaries do vary, but traditional salaries will be between anywhere between £14,500 to £18,500 for graduate, especially if you're going into the graduate programs. Now, as master students, as doing professional placement, you're coming from a background of work as well. So it's about building that knowledge and experience you already have, building it with the masters, and then realizing that you should also be looking at opportunities that are those entry management level roles, which can
Yes.
sit anywhere between 20 to £24,000. So it's about it does vary. You are correct, and you can go on to see some of the statistics online about what you should expect as a graduate. But it's also down to what area of the business, what area you also want to work in, which is important, because if you want to go down to work in the third sector, it is maybe a bit less, but the value there is exciting as well. So it's those opportunities. And the same if you go into a startup. Some students go in and we have a UHatch program, which is about, it's an incubator for entrepreneurs that come up with business ideas. So there's many different levels of that. And that's where our career service are really focused on ensuring that students know the right graduate routes, the right opportunities, and that as a master's student, you don't need to only apply for
Yeah.
graduate programs, that you can apply for entry level roles in management and so on, or operations roles.
Yes. Thank you. And then we have a question from another learner. Do we have to do both IELTS and TOEFL? Um, well, the answer is not both of them.
You're correct. One or the other. We look for one English language requirement.
Yes. Please let us know if you have any other questions. Feel free to ask us anything. Now, one of the
So,
things. Mhm.
so Daniel just wanted to also understand about the scholarship partners, since our
Yeah.
learner will be enrolling with GCU University. So, are there any scholarships available with GCU? So that is what we want, some more insight on that.
So as you can see when I showed that slide, it shows students coming through the upgrad, they have a scholarship of
Yes.
£2,350 roughly. So that's already applied. So that's a scholarship that they would be able to access and joining through the route. Now, our other scholarships as well are linked to specific programs or are linked to experience. So we have what's called our postgraduate ambassador scholarship, and that's specifically on our website, and that's where students can can access the full tuition fee. Now there are only about 6 of these across the university, and it's across any postgraduate program, so they are highly competitive. They're not solely on your academic experience, they're also on your alignment to our university's mission and vision, which is the university for the common good. So that's what they align to as well. So those scholarships, they are there, but they are highly competitive. Also, while you're studying at the university, there are scholarships you can apply for while studying. So, like our Sir Alex Ferguson grant, or our Moffat or our Magnuson Fund. And these are mobility scholarships that if you come up with an opportunity to do some social innovation work or to do further areas of interest to you to enhance your own employability, you can apply for these pockets of funding as well while you're studying. So there is a link to the different scholarships on our website, and as I said, you would automatically get the one that we shared with you today, and then if you were to pay your fees up front, you also have a 5% reduction on the fees as well. However, if you were to get a postgraduate scholarship, you wouldn't be entitled to any other scholarship. So it is something to be aware of. You can't bunch many different scholarships.
Great,
Right.
great, Daniel. So I have one more question here, wherein people wanted to know that is English proficiency exam is mandatory to appear, or there are ways wherein we can waive off the English proficiency exams?
Unless you have a standard 12 and have left, which I don't think would apply for coming through the masters, but if your undergraduate degree within the last 2 years has been fully taught in English, we can look at waiving, but that would go to our admissions team who would review the whole application and take that into account.
All right. And what would your advice be on when to apply for the student visa? Learners are asking how long does it take to get the student visa?
So we are aware that sometimes the visas are taking a bit longer at the moment. However, our CAS team, our admissions team, will, as soon as once we have the application route set up our side, we'll send the team at upGrad the link which you would apply through. So that would come straight to our team, and they know that's coming from you, so they would action that admissions process quickly. Once you have a conditional offer, which you can get at any stage, to show that you've applied for the program, what we would then need is when you complete the process, and your team, upGrad will support you through this. Once we get a full certificate transcript that shows that you've completed the program and a deposit's paid, we would then issue the CAS. And we try and do that as early as possible once the transcript, and then that gives time for you to access your visa. The visa is in country, so that I think your team at upGrad would probably know more about that, but our CASs will be issued quite quickly once we know that the transcript is there and the all other entry requirements have been met.
All right. So the turnaround time is pretty fast in that case.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, could you maybe tell us a bit more about the 3 programs that we have through upGrad? So learners can do a part of the program here, then move on to on-campus experience with you. Now, this is for the MSc in Marketing, International Business, Global MBA. How do these 3 programs fit into the Scottish job market? And how does the placement support that you offer, how do students get into that?
So Each of these programs are very valuable within any market, even internationally, but especially within the UK market, because many of our students will either work within Glasgow, the surrounding area. Some of them will go and work in the rest of the UK, so they're valued. Now, the MSc marketing is more of a specialised area because you're focusing solely on marketing function, and they can go into areas like branding, communications, direct, indirect marketing, social media marketing. So there's a lot of jobs and roles around that. And as you'll see in the program developed, we focus a lot on digital components as well within our marketing. So the international marketing strategy module, you'll understand the traditional approaches and the main strategy around marketing, but the other two are digitally focused, which is what the demand in the market is. So you've got that holistic and focused digitally degree, which will then put you in good stead for marketing programs. Good thing about marketing roles is every business has a marketing function. So you can go and work across so many sectors, whether that's public, private, third sector, whether that's in finance, whether that's in recruitment, whether that's in tourism, whether that's in hotels. You have the opportunity to apply for so many different roles within so many business functions. And marketers are always needed because they help drive the value of the organization, either
Yeah.
intrinsically or externally. So it's a great opportunity, and it's a great opportunity for movement as well. The international business program is so valuable because it's what businesses will look for those going on to their graduate programs in key businesses. So whether that's a commercial or operational routes that you want to go down. As you'll see, that's the subjects you'll study is operations, the HRM function of managing people, leadership, and then also marketing in there. So what it does is it gives students that opportunity to engage in many different business functions or graduate roles across so many different sectors. Because again, if finance organizations, engineering organizations, they all demand and require business graduates because they help with the operational function of the organization. Many of our students go into commercial roles, including sales and marketing as well, or they go into leadership management roles, so graduate management roles in hotels as well. So it's a great spread. And in the global MBA, MBAs are admired by a lot of organizations and they're a good qualification to have, especially a global MBA because it's more focused on leadership. So they are those entry level management jobs that you can go into or enhancing your career to move into those next steps. The job market is healthy in Scotland and in the UK for those of you with higher qualifications like a master's or a global MBA. What I will say that we say to all our students is the opportunities are there, but it's up to you to take them. So you need to maximize the experience during your time at university. You need to make sure that you're engaging in the careers events, making sure that you're engaging with the external industry panels that we bring in. Because if you don't take these opportunities, somebody else will. And what happens is they put themselves at a better standing. So we will bring the opportunities to you. We want you to engage with them because employers will ask you, tell me about the things that you've done at university. What other things did you engage with? Because yes, they want you to do the studies, but they also want to see, did you go to careers events? Did you go to networking? Were you part of conferences? Did you do any applied learning with industry while you studied? And we create all those opportunities. Now, the university and the business school, we have a placements manager who supports the opportunity to bring in placements, but the students still need to apply for them. They still need to be selected, but we work with students on their CV on how to build their brand during their studies. So the leadership module, all of the modules that go along with that, guide them to that. The research project they get to do is also another opportunity to engage with employers because they can work on industry problems. They could work with a business to solve a problem, which then goes on the CV. So we're constantly building the CV. But you've got to remember, as students, you also have a lot of experience as well. So
Yeah.
bring that with you. And it's how you use that in your application because businesses want international um, graduates on their workforce, and we
Yeah.
help bring that out. And each week you'll have an hour's employability and skills sessions as well with your program leader who'll talk to you about where to find jobs, what jobs you should be looking at, where are the opportunities, where's part-time work. So all of that is built into the programs.
It's really safe to say that the university indeed brings you and gives you a lot of opportunities, but it's up
Yeah,
to the learners, up to the student to make the most out of this, while
absolutely.
you're building your, along with the university, while you're building your own brand.
Yeah,
To be out there it's to get that exposure is one thing, but yes, to be proactive and
yeah.
engage, that's really up to the learner. But I think GSU gives students a lot of opportunities. Um, so I think it's safe to say that students are ready for the
Yes,
industry when they graduate. But
correct. And the professional practice year, those that 60 credits, 6 months after they've done their taught element, that's their opportunity to work full time with an organisation while they're still part of the university. But our students are getting employed after they do that with the organisation. So while you do 6 months, we'll support you to find these roles, but you still need to apply for them. So you need to make sure you submit the application. But we work with you. The careers team will help guide you with that. Once you get that role, many of our students are staying on with those businesses beyond it because they're making the most of that placement opportunity.
yes, um,
And one thing I would say is also be flexible with where you would work. If a job comes up in Stirling, if a job comes up outside the city centre, be flexible because businesses want you to be.
yes,
Because the
100%.
post-study work visa goes across the UK. So there's opportunities for jobs in Glasgow, there's lots of them, but you might want to maybe work outside of Glasgow, and that's okay because you can still use all the skill set and the networks that you've had while you're studying to find these opportunities.
Yes, 100%. One of the questions that we have here is how many gap years are acceptable?
We don't, as long as you've done the qualification with IMT and you've completed it, successfully completed it, you can apply for the program. In terms of gap years, if you've taken some time out of work, we wouldn't question that because that's you could have some people do that because they're having children, they've got family commitments. We understand that. What we would ask is as long as you've done the IMT program, as long as you've passed that successfully, and you have all the others admissions requirements for the program, you are eligible to apply for the program. But our admissions team will check everything to make sure that it's all in place before an offer would be given.
Now, apart from the industries that we just mentioned, is there also an opportunity to work in the IT industry? One of the students is asking this question. What about students who have a background in cybersecurity, software development, decide to do this program, and then want to apply their managerial or business skills to the IT industry? How like,
Absolutely.
yes,
That is one of the that's such a brilliant question to ask because these industries, they require successful managers that understand business operations to successfully help them grow. So if you have that knowledge in cyber and IT, now Glasgow is growing as an IT destination with organizations building and investing every day with IT infrastructure. So all of not only do IT organizations exist solely where you would have though that knowledge and conversation to say in a graduate interview, I have the technical know-how of an IT program, but what I wanted to do was to further my knowledge in the management process because I want to be part of the growth and development of the organization. That as an employer is something special to see because you're saying that you've got that qualification background and our programs are conversion degrees. So that is what they're there for is students that maybe have done a specialized degree but want to know more about business world, or some students might have done a general business degree but they want to
yeah,
specialize in marketing, or some of you might have been working in IT for 4 or 5 years, but you're saying now I've had some management experience. I now want to get the global MBA so I can really hone in on my managerial skills. Because we've got to remember that there are technical know-how in organizations, but we still need leaders to drive these organizations forward.
yes. Now, we actually have a very great question. All of them are. Um, Someone is asking, just like London in the England region, Sydney in Australia, what would you say is the city in Scotland that is known for being the most financial sector?
Glasgow. Glasgow is now
Yes.
the third, it's either the second or third biggest financial hub outside of London.
Yes.
And if you were to Google the investment from the companies like Barclays, Morgan and Stanley, they have now brought huge campuses here. So let me just see if I can bring this up. Many of you will know who Barclays Bank is.
Yes.
So Barclays have just invested in, let me just bring up, invested in a hub of this size in Glasgow along our riverfront. Let me just show you.
I believe Glasgow has the third highest GDP per capita
Yeah,
within the UK, correct?
correct,
Yes.
correct. Now let me show you just so you get an idea of the investment in finance companies coming. It's also one of the biggest investment destinations in the UK. So it's a great question because you want to make sure that you have those opportunities, but it's a financial hub. So just to give you an idea, this is what Barclays opened this year. So they spent so much time building this infrastructure into Glasgow. So so thousands of jobs.
So, sounds like plenty of opportunities for students. Let me just check. There's another question. Which management program do you recommend for those with more than 10 years of work experience?
Which program?
Yes.
So
Well, I personally think I think it depends. I would in a lot of cases students do opt for an MBA program after having
yes,
so much of exposure in the work industry already.
yeah. But if you have an interest in your workplace, you think I've really enjoyed marketing, that's what I want to
Exactly.
go for. I would then specialize down that route. But all of the degrees have value because you might have a 10 years experience working in maybe hospitality, but you don't have that international business understanding. What shows how does operations work? What is a marketing function? How do you lead in businesses? So I would then encourage you to then maybe consider the international business. But that's
Yes.
where the team at upGrad can help counsel you on that, and they
Yes.
have that knowledge, and we'll also support them in that as well.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Now,
One of the things I'll always say, sorry, is it's a really tough decision. What masters do I go on to? And I totally understand that. So you've got to ask these questions, and these are great questions because they will help you make the decision. So it's great to see you asking these questions.
yes. Now we're almost nearing the end of this session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A box and we will answer the questions live for you. But meanwhile, I think it's very, just to conclude a couple of bits, I think it's very safe to say that regardless of the program that students would opt for, there's a lot of engagement with the local industry. So even though the curricula are very international focused, there's a very proper, students gain a very proper understanding of the local Scottish
Yep.
and with that the UK industry, regardless of the background that you're coming from and the industry that you would actually want to end up in. So whether
Correct.
that's IT or whether that's more business related or management related,
Yep.
a lot of opportunities will be given to you by Glasgow Caledonian. Just make use of these opportunities.
Exactly.
Make use of the exposure that you get, and in that way, try to get in. You will get a lot of lectures. You will get a lot of seminars. A great contextual understanding, plus probably even more than that, a very multicultural perspective will be developed in this international classroom. Yes,
it's so true. And wherever you choose to study,
yes,
all I will say is take the opportunities because we can't ever guarantee you. What we can do is we can create the opportunities and we can support and guide you, but we need to see your desire for them.
Exactly.
And that's what businesses want to see.
Yes. So with motivation and dedication, you will get there. And with this, I would
Exactly.
like to answer just one more question. We've got I think a couple of learners who maybe joined a bit later. So they would like to address the question, course fees for the global MBA program.
So the course fees for the MBA program are, so the standard, if you were coming in just on the traditional route, let me just, sorry, 2 seconds, I'm just trying to, for the full 12 months, it would be just £19,000. However, wait a second, I've not calculated that right. For yourselves, because you'd be coming in at faster track, you would be, and I'll get these sent over to the team over at upGrad so they can get them all sent out to you. So you would be, including the one, because you're only doing 1 year or 9 months, you can only do the 9-month MBA because it doesn't have a placement year. You would be round about £11,400.
Yes,
So
thank
I'll
you so
send
much.
that over to the team so that they can clarify that for you.
Yes, and
But
we
as
have
always, if you have questions for your upgrad team, you can ask them, and
we're
if they need to come to us, we'll
available.
support with an answer.
Definitely, we're definitely available. We remain available to any assistance that you may need, any queries that you have. A couple of participants have asked for more information through by receiving, how do we get access to the brochure or PDF or any other resource. Now, we will also have this information on our website very soon, upgradabroad.com. So everything that we discussed will definitely be there. You will have a great
Of course.
overview of the India part, of the GCU part, what to expect, an overview of the fees, an overview of the program.
Yeah,
but of
will be on
course,
there.
if you have any other questions, then we are available for you. More than happy to assist you with anything you may need from us. And I think with that, we've also addressed the last query. So I would like to thank you, Daniel, for being here, for introducing us to these courses, to Scotland, to the university. I would like to thank the participants for their interaction with us. That was really great. And thank you, upGrad team.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you
Hopefully
so much for the session.
No problem. Thank you
Yeah.
for hosting me.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see some of you in Glasgow.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you.
great evening.